So we are going to be recording this for anybody who wants to rewatch it. A couple of people suggested that we do a call just about Summit, preparing, kind of planning, and then place for people to ask questions if you guys haven't been before or you want to have some advice or have a specific question. So, crap, I forgot to check the thing. I'm like, everybody type if you have a question in the event, and then I forgot to check it, so maybe Tyler can do that really quick. I think Tyler had, actually, you want me to look because you had the first really good point that I thought you should say.
Well, or just go over like the actual like kind of logistic type stuff.
Okay, so we'll do that first. So a couple things Tyler and I talked about that we suggest to people. Remember, this is New Orleans. It's going to be really hot. So dress appropriately for that. Nashville was super hot. So like dresses that are shorter or anything like that you can have that's going to be light and airy and cool. Shorts, obviously. I suggest bringing snacks. If you bought a box lunch, that's awesome, but you're going to be hungry is my guess. We usually bring some bars, some fruit, maybe some cut up veggies. Tyler and I have really liked going to the store and getting some healthy food just to have on hand. But bring snacks, a water bottle, I suggest, because then you're not buying bottled water. They'll have like usually stands where you can buy things, but they're expensive. So bring a water bottle you can refill in the drinking fountains. I don't know what the bag policy is, and if one of you guys know what the bag policy is, you can chime in, but bring something to carry your stuff around. Can't remember if we brought a backpack last year or what, but something to, especially since this is all over the place and you're going to be traveling, a lot of people don't like going back to their hotel room in between. There's really not a lot of time for that. So usually when you're up in the morning, you're usually gone for the whole day. So even like a change of clothes, sometimes depending on if you have time to get back and shower and all of that after your workout, just keep that in mind that you're probably going to be packing for the day so that you don't have to go back to your hotel room. That's at least what we did. It's more convenient that way. Workout clothes. We used to have to bring tons of workout clothes. I think there's only one workout. So, I guess the super workout. So we'll have one workout with your trainer that you chose, plus a huge workout with everyone on Saturday morning. So definitely 2 pair of workout clothes. I remember, this is going to sound kind of gross, but I remember in Nashville changing my underwear more often because it's so hot and humid that I would like go back. If I was going to something at night, I often wanted a fresh pair of underwear because I was so sweaty. I know that sounds gross, but I remember showering sometimes twice because I would shower like after the workout and then before I went out at night because you're just sticky and hot. So keep that in mind if you're the type of person that's going to want to take more than one shower if you're sweaty. We also suggested to wear light layers. Well, dress in layers because it can be chilly in the rooms, but it's hot outside. So wear your cool clothes, but then like bring a jacket or a sweater to wear when we're inside. And then depending on if you qualified for any of the parties in the evening or if you want to go out, obviously outfits for that. Something that Tyler and I have started doing when we travel, which I think this is just a helpful travel tip in general, but if you have a special diet, which a lot of us do, eat like super healthy. So if you're not going to want to be eating out all the time, check to see if your hotel will check out a fridge. You know, some of us rented houses, but if you're in a hotel, a lot of hotels will keep a certain amount of refrigerators up at wherever they keep them, and they'll let you check them out. That can be really, really handy if you're stuck in a hotel room and don't want to be eating out for every single meal. Obviously, Shakeology is really helpful to have for that reason. Some people will even bring like their little mini blender, like a magic bullet type of thing to make. We've done that and made our shakes that way, like buy some bananas and.
But they honestly, most of the time the hotels are out of fridges, unless you have like a specific medical condition, then they'll be more accommodating. But most of the time it's first come, first serve. And they're all gone. So we've taken like freezer bags with us because those you can fold up and put in your suitcase and they're super easy to transport. and then just take some like gallon
Ziploc
Ziploc
bag,
bags with you, and then you can like refresh them with ice every day.
We do that a lot too when we don't have a fridge available. So check to see if your hotel has one. If not, a freezer bag can be helpful. Know where your closest shuttle is and where your pickup is and what times they come. Can be helpful to plan your day out so that you can be on time to things. If you don't have a shuttle close to you, I know I'm planning on taking Uber. I suggest sharing Ubers because you're going to be spending more and more money every time you take an Uber. So share Ubers with other people. That's kind of obvious. Some of this is really obvious, but maybe it'll help someone. This is a huge suggestion of mine, and I say this every year. You will end up hanging out with who you're rooming with in your hotel. This is a super busy event. All of us chose different workouts, different tracks, different like everything. So we will have a team get together. I don't know when yet. I have not planned it yet, but we will have a team get together. It'll probably cost like $10 because we're all going to go in for probably it to be catered like we did last year if you guys were in Nashville, which I loved. I thought it was really fun to all get together and see each other. So that will be decided and announced on the page, but just keep, and that's also for, I don't know if anybody on here is from Krista's downline, but I think you're invited if you like, anyone's invited. Well, not anyone. Anyone's invited in our organization. So yeah, don't feel like if your coach isn't super active with our team, then you can't come. But you're going to end up hanging out with who you room with. So don't expect to like meet up with all 60 of us until we're at the team get together. But this is my suggestion. Hang out with who you're rooming with. And I know there's one or two people who have a hotel room by themselves. So my suggestion is find someone who's going to be close to you, get their phone numbers, and have a little group text of like 2 or 3 or 4 people that you are kind of buddies with for that weekend. So I don't want anybody being by themselves. I don't want anybody mad that they're not seeing anyone. So my suggestion beforehand is get on the NOLA page. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
The NOLA, that I didn't even know what that meant. Yeah. Get on the NOLA page and just start chatting in there if you don't have a buddy or someone to go to events with or someone to meet up with. Have someone, because I don't want anybody being mad or frustrated or have hurt feelings. This is just like, you really end up hanging out with who you share a room with. And if you're not sharing a room.
So there in that group, there's a document with phone numbers on there, so you can get on there and add your phone number or reference other people's phone numbers. And then there's also one with flight information. So anybody that's coming in at similar times, and if you're staying in the same area or whatever, then that's a nice resource where you guys can kind of
share a car.
Yeah, share cars, save money on Uber together or whatever, and get to where you're going together. Because it's always nice to be with somebody that you either know or have connections with. Because I've traveled to different places on my own as part of a group, and that's the way we did it, and it worked out great. But you have to be the one that takes the initiative to arrange it, because there's so many people that it doesn't work for one person.
Yeah, that's why we do a team get together, so we can all hang out. But then outside of that, make sure you have a buddy, like 2 or 3 people that you're just hanging out with. You're meeting up. You're on the same. A good way to do it is like close hotel or a track. If you picked the same workout or track, get together with a couple of those people.
But they Summit used to be in Vegas, and they had it at the MGM where
we all stayed there.
Everybody stayed in the same hotel. Events were in the hotel. Like everything was right there, and so you're constantly crossing paths with people and seeing everybody. But now it's so spread out. It's really
so
hard.
Big.
And there's constantly, there's different tracks that people are on, and people are staying in different places, and so everybody's constantly. You're always on the go at Summit. It seems like it's always
exhausting.
Something. Yeah, there's something going on. So, pick somebody that you're going to be either like rooming with, on the same track with or whatever, and then just kind of go around together.
Go around together is my suggestion instead of, like Tyler said, take the initiative. Don't wait for someone to do it because they're probably stressed out trying to figure out where they're supposed to be. So Summit is stressful. I will say, one thing that I always feel is pretty overwhelmed. By the end, when obviously bring a notebook, you're going to be taking a ton of notes. You're learning from the most successful coaches in the business. So take advantage of that and take notes like crazy. But something I told Tyler, that I attend a lot of seminars, and something that's really, really helped me, because often I end up completely overwhelmed by the end. I'm exhausted. I don't know where to start. It feels overwhelming. And so something I started to do is, I have my notebook and I'll take my notes, but then at the end of my notebook, I'll save like my last 3 or 4 pages. That's only for like my huge takeaways that I want to implement, like action steps, something that I want to go home and change or implement, or something that sticks out to me huge that I'm like, I have to do that. That's giant for me. I'll flip to those end pages and write it down. That way at the end of Summit, you don't have 25 pages of notes that you're like, I don't even know where to start. You have 3 or 4 that are like your huge takeaways that are super important to you and you feel like would make a big difference. So that's been really helpful for me, and that's something I suggest. Did you want to talk about?
Yeah.
We're kind of done with that part.
So I think, like Tiffany said, both of us have been to a lot of different seminars and a lot of different, events and different things like this. And, for the first long time that we started going to these, and I'll speak from my personal experience, but I always came home with a lot of good intentions and, was kind of fired up and whatever, but then there was no follow through on my end. And like Tiffany said, I would have, pages of all these different notes of, all this great information, while I was there at the event that really meant a lot and I really felt was going to be really important. And that's why I wrote it down. And I even had the pages of, the action steps, and these are the things that I need to be doing. But honestly, the thing for me that really made the biggest difference was on a recent seminar that I went to, and it's made all the difference in the world for me. Was I went into the event looking for something specific. And when I went into the event and I had that specific thing in mind that I was looking for, the whole time as I was sitting through, the different, speakers and whatever segments of the presentation, I had that in mind. And so that's what my take home was. And it was something that I was mentally prepared for when I went into it. And I got what I wanted out of it. And then when I went home, since I had what I was looking for, I implemented it. And so, like I said, for me, of all the different events that I've been to, which I don't even know how many we've gone to, a lot, but that one event was what really changed things. And so that's what I would suggest was, if you have something specific that you're looking for in your business, if you want your business to look differently now versus when you're finished with Summit, if there's something that you want to learn how to do better, you want to improve on, any type of techniques that you want to implement, anything that you want to accomplish, like, whatever it is, income goals or whatever, think about that now, or start at least, pondering that as to what do you want to get out of Summit, and then go in with that mindset of, this is what I'm going to get out of it. And when I finish Summit, this is what I'm going to do when I'm all done with Summit and gone home. Because honestly, there's so much stuff, and you're going so fast, and there's, all these different speakers and whatnot that you're going to get tons of information, and then go home and be so overwhelmed that you won't even know what to do or where to start. So there's going to be great speakers there. There's a lot of, top coaches that are super successful. They're going to be sharing with you what they've done to be successful. So, I mean, if you want your business to look different, then have in mind what you want to do, listen to what the people that are already successful have done, and do that, But just make sure that you're willing to actually implement that when you get home from Summit.
Yeah, I was telling Tyler before we jumped on here that I've heard people say before, like a seminar is, or anything like this, like is an investment in yourself and in your business. And it's never a waste of money if you implement something. It doesn't have to be a ton of things. If you implement something, it was not a waste of money. If you learn all these things and go and spend this money to be here this weekend, and then you go home and nothing changes, then it's kind of a waste of money. And I like that because I feel like that's something that we can get really caught up doing, is never implementing anything that we learned.
And that's what I was going to say is because there's actual successful coaches that are speaking, it's not just like a, go, pump you up rah session where you're, going to be all excited and then go home and lose it. They're actually giving you steps to be successful. So if you listen to that and get excited, but then don't do anything, then it was kind of, all for naught. So if you want things to change for you, then you actually have to change.
Right.
You can just keep doing the same things that you were doing before.
Okay. I think that's all we really had. Does anybody have questions, or anybody who's been to Summit have a suggestion? When thinking about this, I was kind of like, I don't know. How do you plan for Summit? I don't know. But if anybody has any suggestions who's been to Summit before, or has a question, did you check the event page too to see if anybody had asked a question?
Yeah.
Nothing? Okay. Does anybody have a question or anything that you want to chat about? You can unmute. Like most of you guys are like on a phone, or I can't see you. So I guess some of you guys aren't unmuted, but yeah, if nobody has any questions, I hope this was helpful. Someone suggested doing a call on this, so I'm like, sure. Okay. I'm excited to see everyone there. I will let you guys know. I'll announce on the Team Inspire page as well as the NOLA page, just in case someone's not on that one, where we are doing, I think the get together is going to be where we're staying. That's kind of why Carrie and I stayed in the same, we're renting like 2 different sides to a townhouse or something like that. So I'll make sure and announce to you guys where that's going to be, what time, and then we'll probably we each pitched in like $10 last time so that we could have it catered. Make sure, oh yeah, very good point. Tiffany says make dinner reservations now if you plan to eat out. That's huge. So many people that are there, and comfy shoes is a really good one too for lots of walking.
You will be moving around a lot. Like it looks on a map, it looks like they're pretty close, but you're still doing a lot of walking.
Well, even the venues themselves are huge. So
yeah. Just
getting through the front doors to your seat is a ton of walking. So yes, definitely comfortable shoes, snacks. I'm always all about food. So
the way they have it now is the people, like if you registered for, I forget what the tracks were called, but
I can't remember.
Whatever,
colors, I think.
Track A or whatever. You stay in the same room. Before it used to be like the speakers were in one room and then all the participants would go to, room 9, 10, 11, whatever. But now all of us just kind of sit in the same building. So you're going to be sitting for a long time. So if you have a problem with that, then walk around. Maybe say like dress in layers.
Yes.
Say that like it's going to be hot there, so dress cool. But sometimes inside the actual rooms, it can get cold. So, you might need to have a jacket on inside or something if they're cranking up the AC.
Yeah, Erin said last year they sat on the floor in the back because there was no seats left. So keep that in mind if you're going to be there early. And if you want a seat, I would get there in good time. It's insane. It's busy. Honestly, I come home from Summit like wiped out. It's not a vacation. It's tiring. Something else I was going to say, use this to your advantage with your business. So posting about these things, posting about the event. Usually after an event, we have kind of a surge of people wanting to do what we do because it's fun. And they get to see parties and fun things that we do. So use it to your advantage. Talk about it. Talk about the fun things. This is a really good way to talk about the business side without blasting products, which we preach against anyway, but it still seems to happen. So,
well, that was one of the things that I was meaning today when I was talking about like being prepared mentally, having the right mindset going into Summit. Is if one of the things that you want to accomplish out of Summit is furthering your business or whatever your specific goals might be, actually make that a goal of what you want to get at the end point, and then work your way backwards, right? Like, so my goal
it's called
is
reverse engineering, right?
Yeah, so my goal is that I want to sign up 10 coaches or something after Summit. Well, okay, so if I'm going to sign up 10 coaches, what are the things that I need to do to get myself to where 10 people are going to want to sign up with me? Well, maybe that's, posting about all the cool stuff you're doing. Maybe that's sharing, your story with Beachbody. Maybe that's, X, Y, and Z, whatever it may be. But come up with that stuff beforehand so that, while you're at Summit, you're, taking the cool pictures and you're doing all that stuff so that you can post about it later. I think that was one of the things that we had done before, like after Summit or some event, we're like, oh crap, we didn't even take any pictures to, or I want to, post about this, but I didn't even take a picture. So how, whatever, but so just be prepared going into it.
I would suggest too, if you have a little charger stick for your phone, I have like a Mophie or whatever it's called, but I think they sell like just the little stick things. There will be no plugs in the venues. There are people sitting by them charging their phones and computers all the time. So bring an extra battery pack or whatever for your phone. You'll go through if you're taking pictures and you're going to be on your phone a lot. So that's just pretty typical. So make sure you're bringing that if you have something like that.
Okay. So Aaron, I think we're a little bit behind on there. So Aaron, yes, a light layer or buy something at the core. Obviously there's going to be a lot of cool clothing and different
Tiffany
things.
says talk about the core because some people aren't going to know what that is.
Okay. Okay, so the core is like where they sell. They'll have new products that are announced. So fitness programs and stuff, they're usually sold there. Of course, it's probably all on all access now, so that may or may not be there.
They'll probably still sell it, but
yeah. So all everything that Beachbody offers, basically, you can get there. All their clothing, t-shirts.
They'll have a ton of apparel. It's a lot of apparel.
Yeah, tons of apparel. You can buy the performance line supplements. They have a Shakeology bar where you can, go and buy a glass of Shakeology all, mixed up.
It's a ton of apparel. I only really remember that. Yeah, they'll have, not all the programs are there, just usually the new ones that are announced.
And then usually some of the trainers will show up in there. They'll do different, live Q&As or, different stuff like that. So that'll be on the schedule where some of the trainers are. So you might end up running into people in there.
A lot of people too will think like the core is super busy and the lines are usually really long. So a lot of people, to try to beat the lines, will like leave their session early or get to their session late, because if you go during like the break times, it's packed. So if it's a speaker you don't love or really connect with, go to the core then.
Yeah.
I'm making a bad suggestion, but that's if you want to skip the lines or try.
Yeah. Okay. So no bags at the convention center. At least this is the way it was last time, was at like the general sessions and stuff where everybody, or like the celebration, the opening and closing ceremony, that type of stuff. You're not allowed to have bags. I would check the bag policy on Beachbody's Summit page for specifics on that, because when you go to like the class time or whatever it's called,
I'm reading, sorry.
Then you can have bags there and you can take your stuff, but it's just at like the big I think opening and closing and celebration things that you are not allowed to have bags at.
So keys to the core. I'm trying to figure out if you mean, Holly, like to get in.
Stop it.
What did she say?
I don't think that was somebody's kids or something. So yeah, make sure if you're going to buy some apparel, make sure you have room in your suitcase. That is a good tip.
Most of the time I feel like I've been able to fit it. It's not, but I also am not buying like $500 worth. Well, I think last time we bought pretty close to that. But like, if you're not buying a ton of stuff, you're not going to need a bunch of room in your suitcase, but definitely keep that in mind.
Let's see. So Facebook Live last year was helpful. Yeah. That's something that a lot of people did was, do like a Facebook Live of what they're doing. And because honestly, Summit it's like, what's the word? It's so much fun, and like the atmosphere is just like really contagious. Like it's just a really like inspiring, just upbeat, like an awesome type
You'll come home like amped up, like he was like, you'll for sure be like, I'm gonna knock this out of the park, and like you'll feel that when you're there and when you get home.
Like Beachbody puts on an awesome show.
It's an awesome event.
The speakers are fantastic, and just the whole atmosphere is super fun. So the more that you can draw people into that world that you're going to be in, the better off you're going to be. So Facebook Lives, that type of stuff is awesome.
Oh yeah, I haven't heard anything about a key to the core. They probably have that as like an incentive for people to be able to get there sooner. I know when we were elite, we got to shop earlier than everybody else. So yeah, I don't know what the qualifications for that were. I'm sure you could probably look it up in the FAQs. I haven't even heard about it though.
Yeah, people stand in line for like an hour to get into the core.
Yeah, and then you stand in line for like another hour to check out. Oh yes, the app. So Tara asked about the app. I highly suggest downloading the app. That's how we stayed on track for everything.
Oh yeah, you have to download the app and be on there.
Yeah, that's super helpful.
Tells you where everything is, when you're supposed to be there. I mean, that's like your guide.
And you can look at it by like the day, or you can look at it by your track, so you can see where you're specifically supposed to be with what you signed up for. Yeah, the app is really helpful. Question about shuttles. Is there a time schedule? Because I only see the schedule without times.
Yeah.
Actually,
I think the shuttles, and maybe they'll announce this more, but the shuttles in Nashville, they ran like every, whatever.
I think it was like half an hour or 15 minutes
every half an hour or something. And they just go around, from stop to stop to stop, and then back, to the Superdome, and then they'll go like stop, and back. So if you, basically just go outside of your hotel, and there'll be a shuttle there shortly.
Well, if they are at a hotel that was by a shuttle, most people were. I think there's like a couple people who didn't get to a hotel close.
Yeah, and these guys like have the house, and so you're just going to be Ubering around. But.
Oh yeah, so Aaron says they ran frequently. It was convenient. Didn't worry about specifics besides the last ones at night.
Yeah.
So yeah, there is a last shuttle that they'll stop running. So 8 a.m. to 10:30 p.m. Yeah, I don't know if they have actual stop times. I'm sure they just run regularly. I remember, we didn't have specific times. We just would go out, wait for 10 minutes, and it would show up.
Well, no, like midnight or whatever is the last shuttle.
Well, yeah, 10:30 p.m.
Yeah.
She says.
Okay.
So if there's not times on there, it's probably just continuously running. That's how it was last year. Is there anything we didn't answer?
I think we got everybody's questions. Does anybody have, you can type in there or just speak up if there was something that we missed.
I'm excited. Summit's really fun.
Yeah.
Tyler's super sad. He's not coming.
Do they have at the core, don't they have apparel that's not sold online?
Oh yeah. Like I have an Insanity shirt that I got like 3 years ago at Summit, and you can't buy it. Like it's not. You'll see stuff that you've never seen that's not online. Sometimes they'll put it on afterwards, but it's like a couple months later, and sometimes you can't. Like the Insanity one I have, you can't find it. They never sold it online. So keep that in mind too. If there's something you really like, get it, and you don't have to pay shipping. And a lot of times it's like 25% off, or like they're on sale there.
Yeah, you do get a discount for buying it there.
Yeah. So keep that in mind. Okay, I think that's everything. So if you guys can think of anything else before we go, then, before we go to Summit, then make sure you're posting on the page. I'm so nervous traveling by myself, so don't be surprised if I call you when I'm lost. Yeah, that's what I was saying. I don't know if you were on here when we were talking about that, but and I don't know if you're rooming with anybody. That's why I suggest like getting roommates and sticking with them, but use the phone numbers, like get buddy systems going, because it's not any fun to be. I would be super sad if I was traveling alone and didn't get to hang out with anybody. So
yeah.
Have a couple of people. You're staying by yourself. I think there's like you and who is the other person that is staying alone? I cannot remember. Yeah, so let's make sure and coordinate beforehand.
And honestly, once you get to the airport,
it is Melissa. I was confused with Missy.
Yeah, once you get to the airport, there's going to be Beachbody coaches all around you, so you can just like say, "Hey, I'm a coach too."
Yeah, we've seen the trainers too at the airport. Like it's all Beachbody. So
yeah, there'll be coaches everywhere.
Yeah, the planes were filled with other Beachbody coaches. It's so true. Holly, good point. Only credit cards at the core. There's not any cash or anything like that. So, yeah, just make sure you're coordinating beforehand. That's like, I say that because there's been hurt feelings in the past. So please, please, please coordinate beforehand. Like I said, find 2 or 3 people, get their phone numbers, and be in a group text and meet. I would suggest it being someone on your track, because that's where you're going to spend most of your time.
Yep.
Okay, you guys have a good night. I'm excited to see everyone, and I will let you guys know when the team get-together is going to be. And, yeah, we'll talk to you guys later. Have a good night.
Bye.